2053, after the last war, crime has skyrocketed by more than 800%, overwhelming the prison system beyond capacity. To tackle this crisis, the government launched the Box Rehabilitation Program. In the past, would have been condemned as inhumane. Under this system, inmates face two choices: volunteer for immediate execution or serve their full sentence locked inside a small box. Food and water are rationed at the discretion of the very citizens they betrayed. Any attempt to escape results in instant extermination. Inside one of these boxes, a wounded French woman struggles to stay alive. She's been sentenced to 4 years with just over 2 left. Her water pot is empty, and when she checks the hatch expecting food, she instead finds a razor blade. After a moment of hesitation, she decides to give up and uses the razor to end her life. Off the coast of Australia, dozens of these boxes sit on a rocky island. One day, 2 kids playing nearby toss a rubber band ball at one of the boxes, startling the woman inside. Known only as Prisoner 13, she wakes to find her wrists and ankles bound. She gnaws at the rope with her teeth until she finally breaks free. Today marks the first day of her 7-year sentence. Suddenly, a light on the wall blinks and a small hatch opens. Through it, she sees the 2 kids walking away. A moment later, the light blinks again, and the hatch closes. As 13 pleads for freedom, a screen flickers on, playing a video explaining the rules. It ends with the chilling reminder:
the very citizens you chose to betray. Upon successfully completing your rehabilitation, you will be allowed to return to the city and be reinstated as a citizen. Oh. You are where you choose to be.
13 breaks down, pounding the walls, swearing she's innocent. She screams and cries until exhaustion overtakes her and she collapses. Later, when the hatch opens again, she places her pot outside, hoping for food, but nothing comes. Growing desperate, she inspects every inch of the box, searching for an escape. When she lingers on one spot too long, a light shock zaps her fingers, but she keeps looking anyway. Hours pass. The silence gnaws at her mind. With no other outlet, she scratches marks into the walls with her nails, her only form of entertainment. Meanwhile, in another box, a different prisoner wakes up. Her sentence is 2 years. She still has more than 500 days left. Sometimes she hears a disembodied voice asking if she's still alive.
Are you alive in there?
One evening, she tampers with the light panel. A camera catches her instantly, triggering an alarm.
Warning, warning. Extermination is imminent.
As metal rods descend from the ceiling. She screams for help through the hatch, but no one answers. Lying flat on the floor, she watches in terror as the rods descend, then stop just above her face.
One.
The rods finish their descent, crushing her to death. The next morning, 13 continues her fruitless inspection of the box. When rain begins to fall, she places her pot under the open hatch and finally drinks. Later, she's awakened by a voice. A young girl stands at the hatch, asking about her sentence. When 13 says it's 7 years, the girl assumes she's a political prisoner. She fills the pot with fresh water and hands over a small bag of food pellets, which 13 devours. The girl reminds her that it's the citizens who decide each prisoner's fate and ignores 13's cries of innocence. Time drags on. 13 feels her sanity slipping. Unable to bear the isolation, she wraps the rope around her neck, trying to end it all. For several seconds, she can't breathe, but just before death takes her, her hands go limp and she drops the rope. Collapsing into a sobbing breakdown, she realizes she can't even control her own death. Months have passed, and 13 is still alive, still trapped inside the box. Someone's given her a few seeds wrapped in an old newspaper. She drops the seeds into her bowl and holds the paper near the hatch to catch some light. Sadly, the articles are written in a language she can't read. Feeling helpless and tormented, 13 breaks down in tears. Later, she slips her arm through the hatch, searching the ground outside until her fingers find the rubber band ball the kids had thrown earlier. It's not much, but it gives her something to do. Days drag on in the same dull routine. 13 sleeps, plays with the ball, and whenever the hatch opens, she peers outside for a glimpse of sunlight. Slowly, wounds begin to form on her skin, getting worse each day. Meanwhile, in another box, a man serving a 5-year sentence repeats the same phrase over and over, "I am where I choose to be." He's already survived over 1,000 days and is now little more than an empty shell. One afternoon, a drone swoops down, lifts 13's box, and drops it into a forest filled with dozens of other boxes. The young girl returns and asks what she's been doing. 13 answers simply, "Rehabilitation."
Rehabilitation. Sounds like fun.
The girl mentions she's been reading Shakespeare, though the author has been banned for some time. 13 admits she's never heard of him, but explains she can read, just not inside the box. The girl insists that true rehabilitation can't exist without books. She takes 13's hand and softly quotes a line from Romeo and Juliet. 13 finds it beautiful and says she hopes to read it someday. The girl tries to hand her the book, but 13 refuses, afraid of getting punished. Instead, the girl gives her some food and promises to come back and read to her again. After she leaves, 13 can't stop thinking about the girl, her touch, her lips. Overwhelmed by loneliness and desire, she begins to pleasure herself, unaware that the camera records everything. A year into her imprisonment, 13 opens a new bag of seeds and finds a tiny book hidden inside. She lies down with her back to the camera, opens it, and discovers it's Romeo and Juliet. Reading the poetic lines brings her a small spark of hope. The next time she receives fresh water, 13 uses it to wash her body and clean her wounds, determined to prevent infection. The pain is sharp, but she pushes through and dumps the dirty water outside. The cameras catch it and log it as wasting resources. Soon after, her box is relocated back to the coast as punishment. Eventually, the girl visits again and asks why 13 was moved. Instead of answering, 13 asks how she decides who to feed. The girl says she just wanders and talks to as many prisoners as she can. A storm is coming, so she'll have to leave soon. Before going, 13 asks her age. She's 16. 13 tells her she reminds her of her younger sister, who's gone now. Weeks roll by. 13's only comfort is the little book. She hides it in a crack in the wall, pulling it out only when she's sure the camera can't see her face. When sunlight fades, she relies on moonlight just to read a few lines. One day, a drone lifts her box again, carrying it out over the ocean. When it lands, a man appears at the hatch, casually eating an apple just to taunt her. Starving, 13 begs for a bite, pleading for mercy. The man sneers, saying he wouldn't show mercy to any animals in the boxes. If it were up to him, every prisoner would be executed on sight. After a tense exchange, he offers a deal. She can have the apple if she lets him do as he pleases with her. Desperate for food, 13 agrees. She turns around and presses her body against the hatch. As the man begins to assault her, a patrolling drone catches them in the act and opens fire. The man is killed instantly, and one stray bullet tears into 13's leg. Writhing in pain, she reaches outside and grabs the apple, biting into it hungrily, only to realize it's crawling with worms. She vomits and collapses in disgust. That night, alarms blare inside her box. A cold, robotic voice declares, "Trading for food violates program rules. Punishment, 7 days of insomnia. This is your only warning. Further violations will result in termination." A blinding light flickers on, and the siren keeps wailing. For 7 endless days, 13 is unable to sleep. She covers her eyes and ears with her shirt, but it's useless. She screams in frustration, her sanity unraveling. Sometimes the alarm stops for a few moments, tricking her into thinking it's over. Then it starts right back up the moment she closes her eyes. During her week of forced insomnia, 13 reaches the 2-year mark inside the box. Sometime later, she notices people outside, laughing, walking, living normal lives.
The citizens have granted you absolution and order you be instantly released.
A beautiful woman's face appears in the hatch, then somehow steps inside the box. 13 stares at her, feeling a strange familiarity but unable to place it. The woman sits casually on a couch that shouldn't exist, twirling a teacup in her hands. She tells 13 this is all a hallucination. She isn't being released. In fact, this woman is what 13 used to look like before she was captured. The woman explains the bizarre tricks the human brain can play under extreme stress, laughing hysterically as 13 breaks down in tears. When the box's voice finally declares the punishment complete, 13 collapses into exhausted sleep. The hallucination fades, but the trauma stays. A few nights later, 13 wakes to flashes in the sky, fireworks. The box's voice calmly explains it's the new year, and that to celebrate, all prisoners in the box program are being granted amnesty, except those convicted of political crimes. That means 13 stays where she is. That same night, 13 notices she's starting to lose her teeth. One morning, an elderly woman appears outside the hatch, tapping the wall with a rusty razor before speaking. She tells 13 she once spent 15 years inside a box, and that the experience shaped her into who she is today. The woman slides the razor through the hatch, saying quietly that she hates who she's become. 13 holds the razor against her skin, but can't bring herself to use it. Eventually, the young Shakespeare-loving girl returns. It takes 13 a moment to realize she's real this time. The girl fills her pot with water, touches her hand, and quotes Romeo and Juliet. This time, 13 finishes the line. Months pass and 13's belly has grown. She's pregnant, from the assault with the Apple Man. When the girl returns again, she tells 13 her people want to help, that they can take her in and let her serve her sentence under their care. But the moment she says it, alarms blare. The hatch slams shut, and the girl runs off. 13 screams in despair, realizing her one chance at freedom is gone. Weeks later, a new man appears at the hatch. He notices 13's pregnancy and mentions she still has 4 years left. He gestures toward a burning box nearby, calling it mercy. He tells her that's what she should wish for, a quick death. 13 refuses. Later, she spots water dripping from the ceiling. She reaches up and removes a loose screw, using it to file her nails before dropping it. Then she starts scratching at the hole, hoping to widen it. Months later, 13 goes into labor. She falls to her knees and pushes through the excruciating pain until the baby is born. Cradling her newborn, she bites through the umbilical cord with her teeth. Suddenly, alarms blare again. The box voice announces that bringing a second life into the box is a violation. Termination initiated. Gas begins filling the chamber, and 13 passes out. When she wakes, the baby is gone. She screams, pounding the walls, begging for her child back. 4 years into confinement, a brutal storm hits. Waves crash against the box, shaking it violently. Water seeps in through the holes 13 made, short-circuiting the light panel. When she reaches up to inspect it, the hatch slams shut on her arm. She screams in agony, pulling as hard as she can, but the door won't budge. The system glitches again, and the hatch finally opens, freeing her arm, now broken and bleeding. Later, she spots a small bug crawling nearby. She crushes it under her foot, picks it up and eats it, nearly vomiting afterward. Water continues flooding in, so she collects what she can in her pot. Even as the box fills up, she clings to her book, trying to read despite the chaos. The water rises higher until she's forced to stand on her toes to breathe. The system detects unauthorized interference. Extermination in progress. As she struggles to stay above the rising water, a drone descends and locks onto the box. It lifts it into the air, but before it can get far, lightning strikes. The drone explodes, crashing to the ground and sending the box tumbling into the raging sea. By morning, the storm has passed. 3 young people are playing by the shore when they see the box wash up, followed by 13's limp body. They glance at her briefly, then turn away and walk home, leaving her behind. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for watching.